Let's talk about cobalt today. Cobalt is a burning issue. Everybody knows about it, especially the people who are not an EV user talk very loud about cobalt. You know that usual deal that cobalt is a toxic material, cobalt is this, cobalt is that. EVs are not environmentally friendly because their batteries use cobalt. Let's dig deep into it and see what's it really about. Do all EVs use cobalt? Are EVs really harmful to the environment because of cobalt? Are EVs the only one that use cobalt? Let's start with cobalt's use in EVs. Is it mandatory for EVs to use cobalt? Not really. Everybody knows about lithium battery. NMC is a type of lithium cell, stands for nickel, manganese and cobalt, and that's where cobalt comes into the picture. There is another chemistry which is called NCA, that is nickel, cobalt and aluminium. Lithium is used less than 6%. Most of the material that is used is actually graphite.
Now you might find these figures don't match with the popular figures that are floating around in the internet, which shows lithium and cobalt percentage to be as high as 17% and 30% respectively, depending on the battery chemistry. These figures only account for the cathode material. Now batteries have anode and cathode. They completely omit the anode material, which is made up of mostly graphite,
which is nothing but pure carbon, and there is no issue with that.
So if you consider the complete battery cell, which comprises of not just cathode and anode material, but also the protective and metallic layering, etc., both the lithium and cobalt percentage in the battery cell drop to 6 to 7%.
Another type of lithium cells which is on the rise is called LFP cells. That is lithium, ferrous and phosphate. Ferrous means iron, which is abundant and which is very cheap. So you may have the question that why LFP cells are not ubiquitous. The reason is it is less energy dense. When we say energy dense, that means you can extract more energy out of certain volume or certain mass of battery. Due to the advent of the battery cell manufacturing technology and the use of software and other firmware and electronics technique, LFP cells are getting pretty much close to the other types, which is why globally across all sectors the LFP battery usage reached 31% in 2023, and in the same year in China the LFP usage in their electric vehicles reached 52%, and this figure is almost 90% in India.
So when you calculate the 6 to 7% of cobalt in the remaining lithium ion batteries, which actually has cobalt in it, the actual percentage of cobalt dropped to a minimal value.
The annual cobalt usage is only just few hundred thousands of tons, while we burn away millions of barrels of oil every day. And the cobalt that we use are not burnt away. Those are locked inside the battery, and at the end of the life of the battery, this can be recycled again along with every other material that is there in the battery. So do you see where I'm getting at? Cobalt is not as big deal as these anti-EV proponents make it out to be, right? Now, why people are so much worried about cobalt? Worried. So there is a country called Democratic Republic of Congo, or DRC. It's basically the largest source of cobalt on earth so far. People who keep raising issue about Congo talk about the condition of mines and child labor being used to mine the cobalt. Pardon me for calling out this concern as fake. I don't see these people being concerned about all the toxic gas that is emitted out of the ICE vehicles and that we breathe in constantly. And when I say we, I mean every people across all ages and genders in every country. That's out of the picture. You see, these type of mines are called artisanal mines. No modern technology are used in these mines. But these type of mines are on decline. Nowadays, Congo also have modern mines. And Congo is not the only source of cobalt. Other countries, which are China, Canada, Australia, are all rich countries with modern technique to extract mines and no artisanal mines. Most of the EV manufacturers do a lot of background checking to check where the cobalt is sourced from. And there are well-defined graphs and information that is available on the internet where you can actually trace by each company where their battery material and the cobalt is sourced from. Actually, EVs did a good service to this bad cobalt.
Before EVs, nobody actually cared about cobalt and wherever it was being used. Cobalt is present in not just in your mobile phone and laptops, but anything and everything that has lithium-ion batteries in it.
Before EVs got popular, cobalts were still extracted. Cobalts are not generally extracted as a pure form. So even if cobalt is not required by the EVs, it will still be extracted because it is part of other materials which are needed.
But wait, there is more.
Anti-EV proponents forget about one major thing when they talk about cobalt. You know, the fossil fuel, the petrol, diesel that you get for your ICE vehicles, they do not just appear out of nowhere in that purest form. They're extracted as a very thick crude oil. Crude oil has a lot of sulfur mixed in it. Cobalt is essential to desulfurize oil. Now, case in point is most of the cobalt that is used in desulfurization process are recycled and a very little cobalt is required to desulfurize. But you can safely say without cobalt, oil refining won't be possible, and without oil refining, you won't be able to ride your ICE vehicle. So is cobalt necessary for EVs? No. But can ICE vehicles run without cobalt? No.